Bill Janovitz from Buffalo Tom.
You have like a nice and clean image, you know. While you play guitar music, isn't it a contradiction?
Yeah, it is, and it's something we've been suffering with from. I don't know why. I mean, it's just kind of. I guess we're just kind of average, you know, on the surface kind of guys. But as we often say, you know, it's often. I mean, the big influences for me were people when I was a kid were like David Byrne from the Talking Heads or the Talking Heads, and you know, they looked like very normal people, but they wrote very strange lyrics, very weird lyrics. And I think it's the kind of thing that a lot of in America, especially if you like, if you watch like David Lynch versions of America or something, it seems like a very normal society on the surface, but you scratch the surface and there's a lot of strange things going on underneath. And I think that's kind of apt analogy for us. I think we're kind of.
So you look kind of normal, but you're like totally weird inside.
I don't know. I don't know. It's just I think there's more going on to what meets the common eye for a lot of people, you know.
Well, that's something that's reflected in your lyrics, which are, well, to say it at least, Michael's type-ish. I mean, hard to understand for someone. What do you write about? Because
well, I don't know. It's kind of a real open-ended question. I mean, I write about a lot of different things, just kind of things that I have a personal experience with, a lot of relationships and friendships and images that kind of stick in my mind. And I don't even know where to begin. It's I guess if I had to narrow it down to a general kind of thing, it would be relationships. I think just mostly interpersonal kind of relationships.
Where's I'm allowed about, to give an example?
Well, I'll tell you. I mean, I don't know if I know the exact meanings of my songs, and if I did, I don't know if I'd be willing to kind of just say, well, here's a song I wrote. This is about this. This is about this. This is about this, because I don't want to nail it down for people. I mean, it takes the fun out of kind of listening to songs. I mean, I think most people hear my songs and they get a feeling from them, and they kind of understand, even if they don't know specifically what I'm talking about, they may get an idea of what I'm talking about. And I think very rarely does somebody come up to me with an idea that they got from a song which was completely way out there. I mean, it happens once in a while, but I don't like to read like another songwriter saying, well, my songs mean this. So I certainly don't do it myself. But that's also because I really don't write about very specific things. I think there may be a specific instance that maybe kind of stuck with me that came out in a song, but I think they're more kind of general metaphors for other things. You know, even if it's a specific, like I mentioned, going to a party in that song, I don't think that's about going to the certain party. I think it's more of kind of it should represent something larger than that, because otherwise, if I'm writing songs just specific to me and that aren't intended to have any meaning to anybody else, why would I even put them on a record? You know, I think everybody gets their own thing out of it, and I think that's the most fun out of it. I like hearing people's interpretations. You know.
Is it like an emotional outlet? Because your singing style is quite emotional as well. A lot of
yeah, I think it is. Like, I mean, I think that's one of the big things is people see us and they hear us in interviews or whatever, and they say, well, you seem like pretty normal guys. You know, what makes you write such kind of melancholy stuff or whatever? I guess it's stuff that I feel that I can't really communicate certain things, certain aspects of these songs. That there may be something that is from the view of a friend or something or it's about a friend. Let me say, maybe it happened to a friend of mine and something specific and inspired me to kind of include it in a song. Well, it's not something that I could sit down on a radio or something and say, well, I had this friend and she had this happen to her, and because then, you know, it would be invading her life or his life. And so this way I kind of take this instance and I kind of make it into this more masked piece of, you know, songwriting. Maybe he or she probably doesn't even know what it's about, but it kind of conveys the feelings they want to get out. And there's also instances where, I mean, some of these things are very personal, and there are probably feelings that I probably couldn't sit down and talk about somebody face to face, but I could actually put it into a song, and in that way it's an outlet, you know.
And I read in your biography that had been given to me by your record company that you wrote like 60 songs for your new album. And I kind of wonder, your songs sound so like real, you know, not like a band who make like 60 songs because the record company asks them.
Right.
How is it to make 60 songs and feel something for every song you make?
Yeah, well, I think That's a good point. I mean, I think if a record company wanted us, if we had to make songs for a record company, we would make 60. You know, I think the fact that there's so many means it shows that they're always kind of coming out very naturally. That's not to say that we had 60 real full songs, like lyrically, you know, or even arrangement wise. Very rarely are they completely done when we take them into the studio. Well, by the time we take them into the recording studio, they're usually done. But 50 or 60 ideas basically for songs that I gave to the other two guys in the band that we kind of fleshed out during rehearsal and eventually made into full songs. And I mean, I usually won't commit much of a lyrical idea. I mean, I had even more than that. I had probably 50 or 60 myself, and then Chris brought in about 10, 15. So I mean, there were even more than that. But I mean, I don't even try to develop a song completely because it may be a waste of time because they may not want to do that song. So I wait to see which ones are going to kind of stick, and then I kind of develop those, and we develop them together.
Who decides which song you were going to?
We all do. We all do. I mean, all three of us. Not.
We were together.
Yeah, just the three of us. If one guy really wants to do a song and the other two guys don't, it's kind of more of a democracy, and it's because if there's two guys that want to do a song and there's one that doesn't, it's usually got to be unanimous that you want to do a song, because we don't want to have to try to really convince somebody to do a song that they don't want to do, because you know, when it comes to playing it live, they're going to be very unenthusiastic about it. But it very rarely happens. I mean, we kind of got into this band because we really respected each other's tastes and such, and so it's very kind of a natural thing. And the same goes true when we're making arrangements. Very rarely does one guy go, "Well, I think it should be this," and the other guys go, "No." I mean, it's usually like, "Oh yeah, that's a good idea," and we collaborate. And I mean, it's a matter of being together for such a long period of time with the same lineup and being a very kind of democratic in a good way. I mean, I think in a lot of ways democracy can sometimes water things down, but if one guy feels pretty strongly about a certain thing, and he tries to convince the other two guys, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, you know.
And what's your musical background? To what kind of stuff did you listen when you were young?
Except from David Byrne.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was about junior high school time that I started getting into the newer wave type stuff. And I mean, I was never real punk rock. I mean, you know, certain things I really enjoy, and I was never really into hardcore so much. I mean, I really got into the energy and stuff, but there's so much of it was kind of tuneless. I came from much more of a kind of a classic rock background when I was a little kid. I was really into like all types of different things. Like, but you know, when I was really learning guitar, I was really into the Rolling Stones, and I still am to a great extent. And Neil Young was a big one when I was a kid, and a lot of like southern rock stuff, but the Beatles as well. You know, some real obvious ones. But then I was really into like Stevie Wonder and B.B. King, and my parents had like some Elvis record and stuff like that, and I was really into stuff like that. But you know, somewhere between around high school, started getting into like Talking Heads, you know, Echo and the Bunnymen, and stuff like that, Psychedelic Furs. And the band, of course, were very influenced by bands like Husker Du and The Replacements and Dinosaur Jr. and Sonic Youth, stuff like that as well.
Nirvana.
No, never were. I've never been influenced by Nirvana. I mean, we were going before I even knew who Nirvana were. This band, we had a record out two records out before I knew who Nirvana were. Then I heard Nirvana, and I like Nirvana. I think they're a good band. I certainly wouldn't put them as an influence, though. I mean, it's borderline when you put down contemporaries as an influence. I mean, we are perhaps now influenced a little bit by maybe what the Lemonheads are doing, and we got influenced maybe to use the same producers as they did. Dinosaur Jr. I still feel kind of influenced by Jay. I think he's a great songwriter. I mean, I think we're influenced by all stuff, good and bad. You know, even if we don't like something, we may take something out of it.